Hello, this is QTV News and I am Mamudu Gajaga. We are coming to you live from our studios on Carava Avenue. Thank you for joining us. First, we are going to start with a statement that has been issued by the President Adama Barrow, and we would start the news broadcast with that and later on continue with the subsequent news.
Fellow Gambians, residents of the Gambia, in July of this year, the Ministry of Health detected an unusual rise in the number of cases of diarrhea and vomiting among children under the age of 5 within the 6 health regions of the country in areas affected by flash floods. Many of the children affected later developed acute kidney injuries, resulting in the untimely deaths of 66 children within the last 3 months, even though they had the best medical attention and care available. Various laboratory tests conducted on the samples from the victims show that bacteria are the likely cause of their deaths. Doctors noticed a trend among the patients, which indicate that some of them had taken similar drugs. This suggests a link between the acute kidney injuries and the drugs as detected in some other countries. Acting on this evidence, the Ministry of Health issued a statement to suspend the use of the suspected drugs. After receiving the first test results, the Ministry also ordered an immediate recall of the drugs from all pharmacies and households. Fellow Gambians, residents of the Gambia, the Ministry of Health has since been working closely and relentlessly with the World Health Organization, WHO, and the Center for Disease Control of the United States of America, CDC, on this matter. Investigations are in progress, and we hope that they will get to the bottom of the outbreak soon. With the support of the WHO, the ministry sent the drug samples to laboratories in Senegal, Ghana, France, and Switzerland for further investigation. The results received on Thursday, 6 October 2022, confirmed contamination of 4 of the samples. I commend the Ministry of Health for their diligence, particularly for the early detection of the outbreak and their sustained investigative efforts and control strategies. Due to their timely intervention and the support of our partners, the outbreak is now under control, with only 2 cases reported in the last 2 weeks. Fellow Gambians, residents of the Gambia, I must state that the child mortality figure of 66 is not at much variance with the recorded data for similar periods in the past. This notwithstanding, my government remains deeply concerned about every death in the country, as well as all causes of premature deaths. In view of this unfortunate incident, I directed for immediate action that the Ministry of Health works with the Attorney General's chambers to review and update the Medicines and Related Products Act, the Pharmacy Council Act, and all other related legislative frameworks and regulations. The Ministry of Health collaborates with all relevant partners and stakeholders to strengthen its detection capabilities and establish a quality control national laboratory for drugs and food safety. And in collaboration with relevant partners and stakeholders, the Ministry of Health investigates the source of the contaminated drugs, the circumstances and procedures for importation of medicines into the country, and establish safeguards to eliminate the importation of substandard drugs. Already, the World Bank is supporting the government, and steps have been initiated to establishing a quality control laboratory at the Medicine Control Agency. Fellow Gambians, residents of the Gambia, I assure you all that government will leave no stone unturned to get to the bottom of this incident. I urge you, however, to be vigilant enough to ensure that all medicines sold or used are safe and effective. We owe it to the nation and to ourselves to protect the lives of every citizen and residents of the country. In the meantime, my thoughts and prayers are with the families that have lost their loved ones. Loss of life is always a sad moment, especially when it involves tender lives. We regret the loss of each of the 66 children and pray that Allah consoles the bereaved families. I thank you for your kind attention.
Well, that ends the statement of the President, Adama Barrow, there about the death of 66 children due to acute kidney injury. We will pick up from there, and now the news headlines on QTV tonight. Following the deaths of 66 children in the Gambia due to acute kidney injury linked to the use of paracetamol syrup, promethazine and cough syrups imported from India, QTV went to gauge public opinion about the developing scandal. In a second extraordinary session, the National Assembly convened on Thursday for the tabling of the Public Procurement Bill 2022. The Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation is in the process of validating the amendment of the Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation Act 2015. In international news, following last Friday's coup in Burkina Faso, many Burkinabe are celebrating and waving Russia's flag in the capital Ouagadougou, raising questions about Russia's influence in the country. In sports news, the 84th Congress of the Global Sports Press Association has ended in the Italian capital Rome with the re-election of a new president for another 4-year term. Those were the main news headlines, and now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you very much if you're just joining us. This is QTV News. Well, we'll of course started with the President's statement. Following the deaths of 66 children in the Gambia due to acute kidney injury, the WHO linked the deaths of 2 paracetamol syrups, promethazine and cough syrups imported from India. In response, Gambia's health authorities are currently conducting a recall of the medications. QTV's Lena Igwenyiba went to gauge public opinion about the developing scandal, and here is her report.
The deaths of so many children has prompted media scrutiny and numerous debates within and outside the country, including about the testing, safety, and importation of products brought into the country. These named medicines said to be linked to these deaths were imported from India and are manufactured by one company, Made in Pharmaceutical Limited. Binti Jallo is aggrieved at the death of innocent children and calls on the government to act decisively on the matter. This is serious and sad, because losing even one child is sad. let alone so many losing their lives. We are mourning. Whatever the government can do in its capacity should be done in this matter. Ndai Sow Sen, a young mother who purchased one of the named syrups and gave it to her 8-month-old baby, is still in shock and sympathizes with the families of the deceased children.
Well, it's rather unfortunate on the people that lost their kids, and my condolences to all of them. Well, I purchased 2 of those type of medicines. After seeing them that they are part of it, I was scared to hell, because I didn't give him the whole bottle, but my son, but I gave him some of the medicine. But I'm observing his situation, so I'll be taking him to the hospital to see how he is, because right now he is coughing, he has cough. So I don't know which is which. As of now, I'm scared.
Ibrahim Toure, a businessman, has doubts about the ongoing investigation and its results.
66
children died. This is no joke, and we are unaware of what is happening because a lot of kids took the syrup. I know that no action will be taken.
Adam Fati urges Gambians to stay calm until investigations are done and avoid believing or circulating fake information.
I think this is a situation under investigation right now, and it wouldn't be necessarily wise to point fingers at people, not in government or any other party that is responsible. I think if things are under investigation, the wise thing to do is to wait until such investigations have concluded. And I believe if there is truth into the issue and a proper investigation is made, I believe whoever is responsible, whether intentional or not, Gambians will know. And from there, I think we will be in a better position to say what ought to be done and what recommendations.
The company named in the alert issued by the WHO names one company as being responsible, namely Made in Pharmaceutical Limited of India. In 2014, the company was subject to a criminal case in India. The case was quashed in 2016 on the grounds that the case should have been brought against the company and not the individual directors. The case is being covered extensively in the Indian media, and journalists have revealed that they have written to the company and received no response on this matter, and visited their premises only to find them shut with no staff on site. Meanwhile, the Gambia's Ministry of Health, in collaboration with Medicines Control Agency and the Gambia Red Cross, has conducted a recall exercise of paracetamol, promethazine and cough syrups in households in parts of the Kanifing municipality and the West Coast regions. Indian authorities have also announced their own investigation. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena E. Gwenyiba.
In a second extraordinary session, the National Assembly convened on Thursday for the tabling of the Gambia Public Procurement Bill 2022. In a day-long session without adjournment, the lawmakers considered and passed the bill with amendments after a debate signaling both support and reservations for the proposed legislation. Modulamin Choi has the details.
The National Assembly has convened for an extraordinary session by a certificate of urgency requested by the President for the tabling of the Gambia Public Procurement Bill 2022. Cabinet ministers, including the Vice President, were in attendance. The vote for the motion of a certificate of urgency revealed divisions among NAMs, with 36 voting for and 10 against. Tabled by the Finance and Economic Affairs Minister, CDKM Keta, the bill seeks to repeal the Gambia Public Procurement Act 2014 and establish a new procurement directorate under the Finance Ministry and, among other things, provide for e-procurement, emergency procurement and procurement of second-hand goods.
One of the pillars of the anti-corruption drive is this public procurement bill. That's why its delayed implementation was a cause of concern for the executive, and hence the urgent need to bring it before in this certificate of urgency procedure.
Nominated member Kebalang Fofana and Alhaji Mbao, Nam for Upper Salom respectively, debate the bill.
So if at all the current bill is mandating the contract committee to publicly disseminate information to the people as to their proceedings, Honorable Speaker, that will be an add-on, and it will bolster public confidence with regards to what? The procurement system.
If you want to be a player and the referee on the same field, you're going to have a problem because there will be foul play. So that's the reason why it's better for them to concentrate on the compliance and ensuring that all procurement agencies have the right caliber of people, have the capacity to be able to conduct.
One of the objectives of the GBPA 2022 bill is to prevent corruption, fraud and other malpractices in public procurement. Public procurement is important because most of government expenditure on public works, goods and services pass through a procurement process to ensure transparency and value for money. Omar Jame and Madi MK Sise are NAMs for Janjambure and Serekunda West respectively, who were critical of the timing of the bill and the cost of the extraordinary session.
We would have actually preferred to bring the anti-corruption bill forward before the GPPA bill, because if our commitments are to address corruption in this country, what is actually exempting us from having the anti-corruption bill before us?
On the whole, I have no issues with it and I will support it. But I only have to support it and raising my concerns that we are wasting taxpayers' money. $2.9 million is within 1 week.
After its second reading, the bill was considered at the Committee of the Whole House, with NAMs reading clause by clause and proposing amendments. Following this, the bill was read for the third time and passed with amendments. The procurement bill was introduced in 2020 to the previous Parliament, and after passing its second reading, was referred to and spent 2 years at the Finance and Public Accounts Committee, who have been scrutinizing and doing consultations on it. However, it was among the bills to be carried over to this Parliament, and in this session, it was reintroduced via a certificate of urgency with some changes. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
The Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation is in the process of validating the amendment of the Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation Act 2015. The objective of the validation is to strengthen the corporation's governing body and to better manage and administer the Social Security Fund and the housing finance activities of the corporation, amongst other matters. Adibintu Drame has more.
Institutions from both the Federated Pension Scheme and the National Provident Fund attended the validation session, with over 11 key limitations identified with the current acts and recommendations proposed for amendment and inclusion in the Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation 2022 bill. Salum Malang, the managing director of SSHFC, underscored the importance of the validation, adding that the operations will be digitalized in line with global trends.
We have the performance management and development system for our staff, which also another very important component of our operations. We are working on the operations manual for all the departments. We are challenged by Minister of Finance to sign performance contract, which we are not afraid of. So to put you at a more comfort zone, I see the opportunity to assure you that your funds are being properly managed.
Among other things, the amended bill seeks to increase the penalty for employers who willfully refuse to register employees to the scheme. It also extends coverage to self-employed individuals and will enable members to use some of their funds with SSHFC to pay mortgages with the corporation and support their education. Janet R. Salanjai, lead consultant from Torodo Chambers, the law firm which prepared the review and amendments, spoke of timeliness and relevance of the review of the Act to address the needs of stakeholders and beneficiaries, especially as it relates to the COVID-19 pandemic.
We conducted a comprehensive desk review of the Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation legal framework to identify gaps in the current framework and propose recommendations for addressing these gaps. The technical working group set up by the corporation participated actively in the review process by providing necessary technical input and guidance, because we could not have done it on our own. The desk review report was validated by the technical working group at a meeting held at the corporation on the 14th day of June 2022. It's been a long process.
The review identified gaps in the existing legal framework and proposes recommendations for safeguarding SSHFC members' interests. Remo Joyner, board chair of SSHFC, implores the gathering to diligently review the Act to make it relevant for present-day contributors.
The job starts with you to make sure your deductions are paid to the Social Security. And if everything is in order, I promise you that it will not take you a week to have your benefits paid to you upon retirement. That is a commitment that I've made to myself.
The SSHFC was established in 1981 to manage pension funds, national provident funds, industrial injury compensation funds. It is the Gambia's sole provider of social protection services, supporting over 6,000 employees by providing access to those services that best suit the needs of their employees and businesses. The SSHFC supports individuals to prepare for their retirement years by paying into a pension pot or setting aside savings. It also provides affordable housing and is the largest estate developer in the nation, completing over 6,000 affordable housing units over the last 41 years. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
We will now go for a commercial break, and when we return, we still have some more local, international and sports news. Do stay tuned.
Bank from here and there and here too. Here and even here. Introducing the Bloom Digital Suite from Bloom Bank Africa. Web and mobile banking that allows you to bank on the go at your convenience and on your own terms. Check and transfer funds, pay NAWEC bills, buy cash power, buy mobile credit, and so much more. For more information, visit www.bloombankafrica.com or pass by any of our branches nationwide. Download from the Apple Store and the Google Play Store. Bloom Digital Web and Mobile Banking on the go from Bloom Bank Africa.
It is the first edition of the West African Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise Exhibition WAMSME between the Gambia and Nigeria. The sub-regional event will be held at the National Trade Fair grounds around Brusubi Turntable from the 12th to 20th October 2022. Products to be exhibited are strictly made in the Gambia and Nigeria and will include foods and condiments, art and craft, pharmaceuticals, agricultural commodities, cosmetics, leather and leather products, footwear, electrical cables, garments and apparel confectionaries, spices, solid minerals, chemicals, amongst others. This platform is facilitated by the Gambia Investment and Export Promotion Agency, GAIPA, the Nigerian High Commission in the Gambia, and is proudly funded by the Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria, SMEDAN, and the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC. Renowned Gambian and Nigerian artists will also perform at the fair. Come one, come all.
Welcome back, and thank you very much if you're just joining us. This is QTV News. We also welcome our listeners on Q Radio. A two-day forum on increasing women's political participation and decision-making in the country was organized on Thursday by the University of the Gambia in collaboration with UNDP and the Inter-Party Committee. Lena E. Igweniba again.
With funding from the UNDP under the Peace Building Fund, the forum aims to address the low level of women's representation in politics and decision-making processes in the Gambia. Women represent over 50% of the Gambia's population and form the majority in the electoral roll in the recently conducted presidential election. However, women are still underrepresented in the political arena. Fatoumata Jallow, co-chairperson of the Inter-Party Committee, urges women to come on board and be at the forefront.
This is to encourage women to participate fully in politics. Women, though we participate in politics, but not in decision-making body. When we say organizing committee or ASOBI or other issues, we say women. But when it comes to decision-making, women are sidelined. If you go to all these political parties, all the political party heads are men. There is no party leader who is a woman. They are all men.
Women's political participation is fundamental to achieving the Sustainable Development Goal, SDG 5, which calls for gender equality, ensuring equal participation and leadership opportunities for women. Professor Herbert Robinson speaks on the gender policy.
The gender policy that has been developed by UTG in partnership with UNDP is a strategic knowledge product to improve our understanding of how we can advance gender equality and improve the quality of lives of Gambians.
Aliu Mamanjai, chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission, hopes to see a higher number of women in the upcoming local government elections.
I hope all political parties would take steps in selecting as many women candidates as possible. I firmly believe that this would be noted as a positive step in the right direction. I would like to agree with the popular development in ideal of many gender advocates that what a man can do, a woman can do even better.
Promoting women's representation in decision-making processes is pivotal to realizing gender equality and ensuring that women's issues are prioritized. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena E. Gwenyiba.
That report by Lena takes us to international news. Following last Friday's coup led by Captain Ibrahim Traoré, many Burkinabe are cheering, celebrating and waving Russia's flag in the capital Ouagadougou, raising questions about Russia's influence in the country. More in this report.
This was the second coup in a year in this politically unstable country. Russian businessman Yevgeny Prigozhin, founder of the private military company Wagner Group and a close ally to President Vladimir Putin, was among the first to congratulate Traoré on his successful coup. "I salute and support Captain Ibrahim Traoré," the Russian tycoon said in a statement, calling Traoré a truly courageous son of the motherland. France and Russia have been battling for influence in West Africa, with the latter gaining support from locals who seem fed up with Paris. Neighboring countries have watched with concern. Executive Director of the independent organization West Africa Center for Counter-Extremism called the situation worrying. Crowds have shown anger towards French counterparts. There have been anti-French protests and the sudden emergence of Russian flags among demonstrators. Stones were thrown at the French embassy and some attacked a French cultural center in Bobo Dioulasso in the improvised Sahel nation. On the streets, demonstrators clamored and chanted slogans such as "France get out," "No to ECOWAS interference," and "Long live Russia-Burkina cooperation." On the one hand, ECOWAS demanded the new military junta respect the timetable agreed with transitional authorities for a rapid return to constitutional order by July 1, 2024, in a meeting with religious and traditional leaders and Traoré. Others are convinced that other African countries will emulate Burkina Faso. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
Coming up next is sports news. The 84th Congress of the Global Sports Press Association has ended in the Italian capital Rome with the re-election of Gianni Mello as president for another 4-year term. Aliu Cisse reports from Italy.
Incumbent Gianni Mello was re-elected unopposed to steer the affairs of the global body on the final day of an intensive 3-day Congress in the Italian capital, Rome. Sports journalists representing over 100 national sports journalists associations from around the world had gathered in Italy for the Congress to discuss pertinent issues relating to sports journalism. Isat Yilmaz from Turkey and Zura Özmek from Croatia were also elected unopposed as first vice president and treasurer respectively. For the first time in the history of the association, 2 women, Evelyn Wata of Kenya and Zsuzsa Zistu from Hungary, were elected vice presidents. The other 2 vice presidents are Lonis Daras from Greece and Mohamed Hiji from Qatar. In line with the AIP status, 13 members were elected as executive members. The election was preceded with the consideration and adoption of the activity and audited financial reports for the past years. Delegates departed Rome, the city of love, with renewed hope that the new executive will live up to the expectation of members. The next Congress is scheduled for May 2023 in South Korea. AIPS was founded in 1924 to promote sports journalism to the highest level possible for the development and promotion of global sports. Reporting for QTV News from Rome, Italy, I am Aliou Cissé.
The report by Aliou Cissé ends QTV's news edition tonight. Thank you very much for watching. Join us tomorrow for more news and have a pleasant night. Bye.